Hello, everyone. Welcome to Module 4 of our technology leadership course. And today we shall be looking at challenges. Last week, we looked at a different thing on Module 3, and this week we want to continue to look at challenges in technology integration, specifically for K-12 science teaching in Ghana. As usual, my name is Raymond Kaburi, and I shall be taking you through this short presentation for this week model. All right, so we shall begin with looking at the agenda or the outline for this particular model this week. And the first thing that we shall be looking at is in the general, the K-12 science teaching and technology in Ghana. And secondly, we shall be looking at the key challenges in digital science teaching. And we'll look at about a few of them. There are a lot of them, but for the sake of this week and for the sake of our time, we shall be looking at a few of them for today. And then we'll move on to look at some recommendations for Ghana's K-12 technology integration to make it more effective. And of course, we'll look at the conclusion and the references that has helped in this presentation. So let's begin with technology integration as an essential tool in this 21st century in the world. And of course, science education in Ghana is not an exception. So the integration of technology can improve inquiry-based learning and access to resources, as well as student engagement. These are things that we cannot underplay its importance in teaching and learning of science in this digital era. And according to CoSign 2023, digital transformation in K-12 education is a strategy for sustainable improvement and in the learning outcomes. And between 2023 and 2024, it was diagnosed that for Ghana, for example, they have challenges in terms of infrastructure, up to about 29% for the junior high school level and 64% for the senior high school level, which is so huge. So, which means that the challenge of technology integration or the teaching and learning of science with regards to the inclusion of technology is at an abysmal position in the case of Ghana. And Ghana K-12 system, as I mentioned earlier, it consists of the junior high and the senior high school level. And because of that, there was a policy that was being initiated by the Ghana Education Service through the Ministry of Education. And the initiative was one laptop per teacher. And they also try to bring on board digital labs that can help in the teaching and learning of science. But this has been uneven, according to the Ministry of Education's own report in 2023. There has been low, remains the internet supply to schools remain low, especially in rural areas where there is no electricity, or even sometimes, in some cases, difficult accessing to good quality classrooms, let alone talking about internet supply. And with this, World Bank also in 2024 came out with a report that despite the government's initiatives, schools are still facing digital inequities in terms of supply for the implementation of this technology era in Ghanaian schools. So now, like I said in the beginning, there are several challenges when it comes to the integration of technology in Ghanaian schools, and for that matter, for the teaching and learning of science in Ghanaian high schools. And the CoSign framework defines a header as a barrier that slows down innovation and digital transformation in education. For Ghana's science teaching profession, there are challenges, but the three main challenges or hurdles uh, are this what we want to look at for this particular presentation. Number one of the ongoing challenge is the infrastructural gaps. So there are many classrooms that lack internet access, multimedia equipment, and even well-equipped laboratories, limiting effective digital integration. So the facilities that can help the integration of the technologies are not even there, let alone talking about how you can integrate it into your classroom. The second ongoing challenge in the integration of technology in the context of Ghana and science teaching for that matter is teacher preparedness. The way teachers are trained in Ghana, in one way or the other, does not help for them to have the adequate skills that can help them or give them the drive for them to be able to integrate technology into their classrooms effectively. So teachers frequently lack the training in digital pedagogy and the confidence with technology, restricting innovative lesson delivery. So because the teachers themselves are not trained in such a way that they will have the skills, they will have the capacity and the technical know-how, they have lack of they have low confidence or lack of confidence for them to implement these things themselves. And that is what is restricting them in terms of also the integration into the Ghanaian classrooms. And the third one, which is also an ongoing challenge, is the curriculum and policy misalignment. So, like I said earlier on, the curriculum that has been designed for the training of science teachers in Ghana still needs to be improved because even though there has been initiatives or policies that want to integrate technology into the Ghanaian classrooms, how the curriculum that is laid down to train the teachers does not have enough or adequate provision for the inclusion or the training of these teachers with these adequate skills. So there's a disconnection between the national STEM strategy and the classroom realities, as well as the fragmented policies, which inhibit the technology adoption that can help the teachers that are going to the field to teach the kids get these adequate skills before they move on to the field. Now we can look at them into details. And for the infrastructure, I've already mentioned a few of them. So there are many schools in that lack basic infrastructure. And we can talk about, if we say basic infrastructure, we can talk about reliable internet, we can talk about sufficient devices for teachers and students, even teaching and learning materials. You go to some schools who still don't have up-to-date books, textbooks, laptops, or computers for usage. There are also problems problems of electricity supply. Electricity is still a problem in some rural areas. And as you can see here in these pictures that I have, we have two different kinds of pictures. We see that some of them, they are even sitting outside. They are sitting outside and they are under trees. And you can even see that the tables and desks on which they are sitting up, some of them have just arranged them themselves using stones and boards, which is not so convenient, let alone talking about. So there's no classroom. And this is the rural areas. They still have this challenge because we also see the second picture of people or students who are in the classroom and they have a well-placed computer laboratory with computers in front of them. And this cuts across both high school and the basic schools in the context of Ghana. Now, the infrastructure inequalities continue to be a critical barrier, and that is the honest truth. It's a problem in Ghana, and COSAN 2023 has also made mention of that. Now, we can also look at teacher preparedness. I will also mention that teachers must be trained not just to use technology, but to also integrate it meaningfully into instruction. COSAN Framework 2023 made this clear. So many science teachers have low digital literacy skills and making it difficult for them to implement. The teachers themselves don't have it, so how can they inculcate it into their teaching and learning? Professional development opportunities are also inconsistent and are often on theory rather than practical integration. BASA 2022 was a research that was also done recently in 2022, talking about the fact that there are professional development programs and initiatives, that are trainings that are organized, but instead of them focusing on rather inculcating the practical integration, it rather focused on theory, which is also some kind of inconsistency, lack of mentorship and peer collaboration in terms of the preparation. They don't have the opportunity to collaborate themselves and do hands-on practicals. That is also a problem that has worsened the integration of technology into the science teaching and learning in Ghana. Last but not the least is the curriculum misalignment, which I've earlier mentioned that Ghana's science curriculum emphasizes on practical experiment and critical thinking, but many schools still lack these digital tools to support these goals, and that's the truth. So the curriculum is trying to now bring the practical component of the teaching and learning, but there are still no tools or digital tools that can support these goals. Policy documents that advocate for ICT integration, yet implementation plans are outdated or underfunded. There is no money, and that is a bigger problem. We need money to buy computers, we need money to supply internet, we need money for infrastructure, and they are all underfunded, even though they want integration of IT or integration of technology to be done. And this was a research by Anthony Krager 2007. There's also a disconnection between curriculum designers and makers, as well as classroom realities. So, like I said, we have the leaders, the policy makers, they are designing, they are talking, there's a document, the curriculum is there that we need this, we need this. But the real issues in the classroom, they are not bringing or formulating the right regulations and policies to help it into implementation in the real classroom environment. Now, for the recommendations, number one recommendation is the infrastructure investment. There should be an expansion in the broadband coverage of rural schools through public-private partnership to help improve the infrastructure in Ghana. Teacher training should be also be practical. Hands-on professional development programs should be used, and as well as blending models when they are designing these professional development programs. The policy should also be in alignment. Curriculum development as well as funding should be made available, and the curriculum activities for its implementation and teacher training should also be aligned with the policy of the integration of the education or ICT or technology into our classrooms. There should also be the address an issue or a direct focus on addressing the rural-urban divides by prioritizing equity-driven policies as well as funding mechanisms. And last but not the least is that I think that international collaboration also help. Partner with organizations like UNESCO and World Bank for funding expertise to help in the solving this problem of technology integration in Ghana. In conclusion, I would like to say that technology has the potential to transform science teacher education in Ghana, but the system hurdles remain. And overcoming these barriers require collaboration between government and educators as well as international partners. And we should also try to align technology integration with Ghana's vision of education that will improve equity and student outcomes. For now, we can see that there's still a drive of about let's say 40% is being done into that's per what research says that 40% is still done at the primary level and 80% at the high school level. And we hope that if these recommendations and recommendations are taken into serious and policymakers implement them, we'll get somewhere or improve upon this 80% in the near future. All right, so these are the references that I use for this particular presentation. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you for making time to listen to me as always. And if you want more information, you can reach out to me. Otherwise, see in my email that is below here. And see you in the next model. Thank you very much and go Tigers.